Today, kindergarten added more specific wording to clarify for teachers. Standard 3 creates simple sentences on topic. We also clarified expectations for Standard 4, read sight words, but these changes will not be put into effect till next year. As well as we scanned in Term 5 Common Reading Assessment that focuses on Standard 9, main idea and supporting details, and Standard 10 identifies story elements.
Okay, today for kindergarten, we created assessments for 2D and 3D shapes, as well as addition and subtraction. Then we also took a look at the rubrics for those 2D and 3D shapes, and teachers, you will have to do some one-on-one assessments with those because the children will have to name those with you in person. Then we also took a look at the report card for next year and realigned the standards with the report card and determined what the terms will include as far as number counting and number writing assessments. Teachers, please continue to send us your feedback. We appreciate all of the comments and suggestions that you have had for the report card and the rubrics for next year and the assessments for this year.
First grade had a very busy day today. We created district-wide assessments that aligned with the standards for reading and writing. We also added student work samples for the writing standards, and we looked at the report card and made changes on what standards are graded each term, and that will be for next year. We also had discussions about the reading level chart, and those changes will take place next year.
Today we met and we made some corrections to the math summatives that we had already created. So chapters 5, 6, and 7 have been updated and ready to go. We also were able to complete chapters 9 and 10 summatives, and then we made one change to chapter 1. So as of right now, all of first grade has summatives for every chapter. We also made some corrections to chapter 8 time, the district assessments. We made some updates on those as well. And then finally we began looking at the report card and the rubrics to change them from 6 terms to 3 terms. So those will be coming your way soon.
Today we defined, clarified, and provided examples of what constituted a detailed sentence, an expanded sentence, as well as simple sentences in student writing. We added an example of student writing to provide teachers with a visual example to see what those look like. We also addressed comments, questions, and concerns provided to us by district teachers, and we added definitions to rubrics.
In second grade, we made many changes to the report card for next year. The first one is chapter 2 will have its own power standard and it will not be combined with chapter 5. The power standard will now be solves problems using equal groups. We are also going to combine chapter 5 and it will all have one power standard, and all those learning targets will go under the power standard. We are going to move chapters 6 and 7 to the end of the year, and if we don't get to them, it's not as big of a deal then. And the other thing is we sent out an email asking for measurement workshops or worksheets, and we understand the measurement unit is bad for my math, so we are going to try and redo it the next time we meet. So if anyone has any worksheets, any supplemental activities that you can email us, we would greatly appreciate it, especially things that we could send home for homework instead of measuring their swing sets. Thank you.
So today for third grade, we began the process of looking at evaluating student writing to share samples of the criteria for what constitutes a 3, 2, or 1 for sentence structure. And then we also began creating writing prompts for formative assessments for each unit of study.
In third grade, our team worked on creating some new assessments for term 4. We created new multiplication fluency, equivalent fractions, and comparing fractions. We also worked on the new report card for next year. We made sure that all of our standards aligned to the 3 terms. We also looked at your feedback, and we made some changes to some of the power standards using your feedback and the Missouri Learning Standards to make some changes to the power standards for next year as well.
So we did a lot today. We created 2 power standard assessments for text structure for number 7. One was open-ended and one was multiple choice. And then we created 2 more assessments for power standard 8, which is comparing and contrasting texts through different graphic organizers. We took some pictures of student work and assessed them on a 3, 2, and 1 for simple, complex, and compound sentences to share with other teachers. And then for next year, we had a discussion with 5th grade to change some verbiage on Power Standard 3 and 4 so that we use the word summarize when we're talking about themes and central messages. And finally, we're beginning to add some common definitions for power standards based on the ELA collaboration and vertical alignment so that it's easier for all the teachers to be on the same page.
So 4th grade spent a lot of time changing and editing assessments and rubrics based on teacher feedback for the 16-17 school year. They also cross-checked BYOC with the Missouri Learning Standards and then checked to see if the assessments they created and the rubrics aligned to both of those. And then they also began a discussion on how to compartmentalize the power standards into 3 grading periods for next school year.
In 5th grade today, we talked about updating the report card. So we made some changes for next year. We took out the determines main idea and supporting details and also the central message and theme. And we grouped that under summarizing fiction and summarizing nonfiction. We also updated the rubrics to reflect that. The other thing that we talked about was the report card and the leveling system for 5th grade. So we realized that we had bands on there and the kids would stay in that band and still stay at the same level. So we changed that to reflect that if they were not making growth, that they would move down from a 2 to a 1 or stay at a 1.
We changed the report card a little for next year to prepare for the new report card. We determined what power standards should be graded for each term. We also created a summative assessment for you to use in your classroom over power standards 10 and 11 that you can use as a summative, and then we also have a review one that you can use before your summative.